In the heart of Asia's relentless rhythm, Hong Kong shines, a city where neon lights paint the night in hues of ambition and illusion. Beneath this glittering surface, the pulse of 1,000 stories beats quietly, some vibrant with life, others shadowed by secrets few dare to uncover. Among the stars that adorn this metropolis, Abi Joy, known in the Chinese world as Tai Tianfuang, was a radiant beacon, her beauty not just skin deep but a symbol of hope, success, and grace. A celebrated model whose face was woven into the fabric of Chinese pop culture and high society. Silence millisecond equals 1000/. But behind the glamour and the camera's flash lay a complicated web, an existence entwined with power, family expectations, and the silent pressures of Chinese elite society. Abi's life was more than a portrait, it was a story of fragile trust and hidden storms. Then, in the early months of 2023, the city was shaken by a shocking revelation: Abi Joy vanished without a trace. The disappearance of this young mother and icon sent ripples of disbelief through the Chinese-speaking world, sparking whispers that echoed from the tallest skyscrapers to the quietest alleys. Friends and family struggled to grasp the truth. Where had Abi gone? Was this a voluntary retreat or the mark of a darker fate? The questions hung heavily in the air, each silence louder than the last in the sprawling Chinese metropolis. Behind closed doors, investigations uncovered chilling realities. Abi's disappearance was not an accident, it was a meticulously planned crime, a betrayal woven by those closest to her in a world where wealth and ambition often mask the darkest intentions. The public grappled with the contradiction: how could someone so beloved, so luminous, fall victim to such cruelty? The emerging truth pierced through the glamour, exposing fractures beneath the Chinese high society's polished surface. Social media exploded with theories and debates, each voice adding layers to a complex narrative of love, greed, and betrayal. Across Chinese forums and chat rooms, the mystery of Abi Joy's fate gripped the collective imagination. But the truth, when it finally emerged, was more harrowing than any could imagine: a brutal murder that shattered illusions about safety and trust within the glittering circles of Chinese wealth and fame. Disturbing evidence surfaced: Abi's remains dismembered and concealed in a refrigerator, symbolizing cold calculation and unimaginable cruelty, a haunting emblem of a tragedy that gripped a city and a culture. The investigation uncovered a web of betrayal, a conspiracy where family ties, trust, and Chinese cultural values collided with greed and darkness. It forced a reckoning with the limits of loyalty and the price of ambition. What could drive a family bound by blood and tradition to such horrors? In the depths of ambition and resentment, pressures simmered unseen, cloaked by the veneer of respectability in Chinese elite society. Abi Joy's tragic story is more than a headline, it is a mirror reflecting uncomfortable truths about power, loyalty, and the devastating cost when the pursuit of wealth eclipses humanity. As the investigation deepened, the eyes of a city and a nation remained fixed on this dark saga, searching desperately for justice, understanding, and perhaps, hope. So we ask, what secrets lie beneath the glitter and glamour? How did a shining star fall victim to such brutality? Join us as we peel back the layers of a chilling mystery, hidden deep within Hong Kong's Chinese elite. Abi Joy's life was deeply intertwined with two families, each bearing its own secrets and silent conflicts. Balancing the delicate roles of mother, wife, and heiress, she navigated a labyrinth of Chinese family expectations where loyalty was often tested by ambition and resentment. Her first marriage, a chapter marked by both love and loss, left behind two children and unresolved tensions. The second partnership, though not legally formalized, brought complex alliances, a fusion of Chinese business legacy and personal aspirations. At the heart of the storm lay a sprawling real estate empire, an emblem of power and wealth. This prized Chinese property became a battleground for control, a tangible stake over which silent wars were waged behind polished doors. Psychologically, immense wealth in Chinese families can expose deep fractures where the desire for legacy clashes with fear of loss. Property disputes often become symbolic battles for identity and status, fueling rivalries that simmer beneath polite conversation. The Kwong family, representing Abi's ex-husband's lineage, emerged prominently in the investigation. Patriarch Kwong Ka, his son Kwong Kiet, and matriarch Li Tui Huang were publicly poised yet privately fraught, their relationships thick with unspoken grievances and complex Chinese familial obligations. In affluent Chinese households, preserving face and reputation is paramount. Yet beneath this facade, silent power struggles shape every interaction. The contest over Abi's assets was less about property and more a fight for control of legacy and honor. The psychological profile of those involved reveals a volatile mix of entitlement, resentment, and fear. When family identity is so tightly bound to wealth and status, desperation to maintain control can erode empathy and rationality, spiraling into destructive behavior. Kwong Kiet, once a trusted family insider, bore a shadowed past. Rumored criminal ties and moments of duplicity clouded his loyalty. His dual role as confidant and suspect created a psychological tension emblematic of fractured family allegiances within Chinese culture. Such conflicting loyalties breed cognitive dissonance, where affection battles darker impulses. This mental schism can trigger impulsive aggression, especially when stressors like contested property rights intensify underlying resentments. Unresolved family trauma, hidden slights, betrayals, and grudges often lie dormant, ready to ignite under pressure. Abi's plan to sell the disputed estate may have been the spark that set a powder keg ablaze in this tightly wound Chinese family. From my perspective, the tragic irony is clear: wealth meant to secure legacy became the weapon that tore it apart. In the Chinese context, the hunger for control over family honor can blind even the closest bonds to humanity. Culturally, the weight of filial piety and saving face often silences conflict, preventing open dialogue. This dangerous silence allows resentments to ferment beneath the surface, a psychological pressure cooker waiting to explode. Abi's burden was immense, balancing motherhood, public image, and fractured family ties within a Chinese society that often demands perfection and privacy. This isolation can deepen vulnerability, hiding cries for help beneath a polished exterior. The slow, invisible build-up of mistrust and greed, masked by smiles and social rituals, ultimately exploded into tragedy. It is a stark reminder of how fragile human relationships can become when tested by the corrosive force of ambition. As we journey deeper, we must ask ourselves, how do wealth and family entangle to birth such deadly consequences? And what warnings did the glittering facade conceal in this Chinese elite saga? The day Abi Joy vanished began under the familiar hum of Hong Kong's vibrant streets, yet beneath the surface, a storm was already gathering. Last seen entering a sleek black vehicle driven by Kwong Kiet, her ex-husband's brother, this moment would mark the start of a tragic unraveling. Surveillance footage captured this ordinary yet haunting scene. Yet, mysteriously, the car's dashcam was found damaged, an ominous sign that something far darker than a simple disappearance was at play. In criminal investigations, missing or destroyed evidence often signals calculated intent. When family members become suspects, the layers of betrayal cut deeper, transforming a sanctuary of trust into a battleground of secrets and lies. Days later, the horror unfolded. Parts of Abi's body were discovered dismembered, chillingly concealed within a refrigerator in a rented apartment. This grim discovery shocked the city, exposing a cold cruelty beneath the glittering facade. Dismemberment, especially within a home, speaks volumes, revealing a perpetrator desperate to assert control, erase evidence, and deny the permanence of their brutal act. Investigators faced a daunting task, not only piecing together fragmented physical clues but also deciphering the psychological landscape that drove such monstrous acts within a family. What could drive family members to such extremes? The toxic blend of greed, fear, and fractured loyalties created a volatile environment where love and hatred intertwined dangerously. Worldwide, similar tragedies reveal a pattern. Wealth and reputation often mask stormy undercurrents that escalate beyond control when silent conflicts erupt. From a criminological perspective, concealing a victim's body within familiar spaces is both bold and telling, reflecting proximity, a twisted confidence, and recklessness born of desperation. Psychologically, the act of dismemberment can symbolize an attempt to fragment the victim's identity, a dark echo of fractured family relationships and suppressed rage. As investigators followed these grim traces, the tangled web of relationships, resentments, and silent betrayal slowly unraveled, revealing a crime not born of passion alone but of calculated malice. Behind every dark secret lies a human story, a narrative woven from greed, jealousy, and the desperate struggle to preserve a crumbling facade of family unity. My reflection here is sobering. The deepest threats often come from within. The intimacy of family can cloak betrayal in the guise of love, especially when wealth and power cloud judgment. The deliberate concealment of evidence also reveals chilling sophistication, a stark reminder that this was not a crime of impulse but a carefully executed orchestration. As we proceed, the haunting question remains: what warning signs were missed? How could such darkness fester unnoticed in a family outwardly perceived as harmonious? The answers lie buried within these tangled relationships. To truly understand this tragedy, we must peer beyond the surface, into the complex psychology that twists loyalty into betrayal and love into violence. In wealthy families, money is both a bond and a poison. It can unite, but also corrode trust, creating invisible fault lines beneath the polished veneers of respectability. Abi Joy's fortune, especially the contested real estate assets, became the focal point of simmering conflict where ambition clashed with desperation in a high-stakes battle for control. The patriarch, Kwang Ka, a man shadowed by his past as a former police officer, carried with him the weight of authority and a fierce desire to protect his legacy, sometimes by ruthless means. His worldview, shaped by power and control, may have blinded him to the growing fractures within his family, the quiet tensions that spiraled beyond repair. Psychologists note that fear of losing status or control often drives people to extremes where rationality fades and survival instincts harden into aggression. Kwang Kiet, with a murky past marked by petty crimes, occupied a precarious position, a trusted insider harboring secrets, his loyalty blurred by ambition and resentment. This cognitive dissonance, the clash between affection and darker impulses, is a psychological crucible where violent actions often take root. From a criminology perspective, this case aligns with the profile of family annihilators, where the intersection of greed, power, and personal vendettas escalates into irreversible tragedy. Jealousy, the infamous green-eyed monster, can corrode even the strongest bonds. It's likely that envy over Abi's influence and control festered quietly, until it erupted in violence. The cultural imperative to preserve face in Chinese society adds another layer, silencing conflict, obscuring pain, and allowing resentments to simmer beneath polite smiles. When money intertwines with family, it can become both shield and sword, protecting interests while cutting through natural affections. This crime stands as a stark reminder that beneath Hong Kong's neon glow and towering skyscrapers, human frailty remains constant, magnified, but not changed. My reflection is clear: this case forces us to confront the corrosive nature of unchecked greed and the tragic fractures it causes in the most sacred relationships. We must ask, how many silent warnings are overlooked within families, masked by social facades and cultural expectations? What can be done to prevent the next tragedy? To move forward, understanding these psychological roots is crucial, not only for justice but to foster awareness and healing within communities. This case was never just about one person. It unveiled a meticulously woven conspiracy, stretching across family ties, trusted allies, and shadowy figures hidden in plain sight. Among those enmeshed in the web was Nguchi Vin, a woman whose connection to the family went beyond affection. She was a linchpin in concealing evidence and orchestrating cover UPS. Safe houses dotted the city, secret havens like the Long 6 Dai Bo apartment, where the grim remnants of Abi Joy were hidden, embodying cold precision and chilling intent. The act of dismemberment and the use of a household refrigerator was more than brutality. It was a calculated effort to delay detection, to obscure truth beneath the veneer of domestic normality. A key player was Lam Thuan, known in certain circles for his connections in the entertainment world and expertise in arranging covert escapes through Hong Kong's maritime networks. Hong Kong's strategic position as a bustling port made it a gateway for secretive movements, perfect for those seeking to vanish beyond reach. Fan Zhao Hein, a socialite with ties to powerful triad families, emerged as a shadowy figure suspected of coordinating communications and shielding the conspirators. This intersection of elite society and organized crime blurred the lines between legitimacy and darkness, creating a perilous cloak for the guilty. Encrypted messages, secret rendezvous, and financial transactions mapped out an intricate network designed to shield the perpetrators from justice. This case echoed notorious triad conspiracies, where family loyalty entwined dangerously with criminal enterprises, amplifying the threat and complicating law enforcement efforts. Yet what set this tragedy apart was the deadly fusion of blood ties and organized crime, a cocktail of betrayal and cold calculation. From a personal perspective, the chilling detachment of the conspirators underscores how greed can erode even the most basic human decency. It is a stark reminder of how power and wealth can corrupt, turning kin into pawns in a ruthless game where the stakes are life itself. This story urges us to look beyond surface appearances, beneath the smiles, the dinners, the polished family portraits, to confront the shadows lurking beneath. As investigators press forward, the challenge remains not only to bring these criminals to justice but to unravel and dismantle the hidden networks that enable such horrors. The investigation reached its boiling point, a tense confrontation in the heart of Hong Kong's shadows, where lives would be irrevocably changed by violence and fate. Abi Joy's life was cruelly extinguished in a moment, carved from cold precision and dark intent, a lethal strike that shattered the fragile illusions of safety around her. The fatal shot was fired during a public event, a blur of chaos and fear as a masked assassin, hidden in plain sight, took aim with ruthless skill. Such a calculated assassination echoed tales of political intrigue, a reminder of how power can breed enemies lurking in silence, ready to strike without warning. Witnesses described a sudden eruption of panic gunfire slicing through the air, a crowd scattering like leaves in a storm, and hearts pounding in desperate flight. The lead investigator, Officer Kwan Theum Hyein, faced the assassin in a harrowing standoff, an intense duel of wills, skill, and unyielding resolve. Officer Kwan's training was put to the ultimate test, as every movement balanced on a razor's edge. One wrong step could mean the end. The assassin, a former elite sniper from China's Special Forces, wielded a cold efficiency born of years honing deadly precision and stealth. In a heart-stopping moment, Officer Kwan outmaneuvered the assassin, ending the immediate threat but leaving scars on the city and its people that would linger. The assassination sent shockwaves through Hong Kong's elite, unraveling layers of secrecy and long-held grudges lurking beneath polished facades. Experts noted the chilling precision as the signature of a vendetta, a calculated act of cold revenge, not random violence. This violent climax was a brutal testament to the destructive intersection of greed, betrayal, and the thirst for power. Beyond the crime, this incident revealed the dark undercurrents that ripple beneath Hong Kong's glittering skyline, a world where the quest for dominance often ends in blood. The community's shock transformed into a collective resolve to seek truth, justice, and a promise that such shadows will not be allowed to thrive. As the dust settled, many pondered the fragile balance between fortune and morality, and the steep price when that balance shatters. Abi Joy's tragic end is a solemn reminder: beneath the dazzling lights, beneath the glamour, lurks a darkness that only truth and justice can illuminate. As we close this dark chapter, the story of Abi Joy lingers, a haunting echo of fragility hidden beneath even the brightest lights of Hong Kong's skyline. It is a solemn reminder of the devastating cost when greed eclipses humanity, and trust fractures within the walls meant to protect us. Yet from the depths of sorrow rises an urgent call for justice, compassion, and the courage to confront uncomfortable truths. We invite you to carry this awareness beyond this story, to look deeply into the shadows and stand firmly for truth and fairness in all corners of society. If this story has moved you, please like, share, and subscribe. Join us in shedding light on the hidden stories that shape our world. Your voice matters. Leave your thoughts, reflections, and hopes in the comments. Together, we create a space for healing and understanding. Thank you for walking this journey through darkness and light with us. Your presence honors those lost and those still seeking justice. True strength is not measured in wealth or power, but in the courage to choose kindness, truth, and integrity even when surrounded by shadows. Until we meet again in our next story, may your heart remain open and your spirit free. Goodbye, and take care.